Office workers of Reddit, what's your go-to activity to look busy when you have no work to do? Just look frustrated with whatever you're doing. Squint at your computer screen, shake your head, let out an occasional sigh, have a bunch of papers on your desk you can rifle through periodically. You don't want to look so frustrated that you might need some help, but if you do this right, everybody will think you're already too busy with something to be bothered. I'm a cleaner, janitor in a warehouse complex. I just grab a broom or a bucket, can walk laps of the place for hours without doing anything if I want. I feel like there's a Fitbit advert to be made in this somewhere. Oh, I can clock up those steps. Believe that wore my girlfriend's Fitbit one day. We were curious to see how far I'd go in a day 10-hour shift. I walked over 30 kilometers. That's 18.641 miles for my American folks who don't want to look up the conversion. Funny story. The president and owner of my company was on site one day and he's very particular about aesthetics. It was a snowy day, so the custodian made sure he was mopping the front lobby periodically, both for safety purposes of having a wet floor, but also because dried salt looks terrible. Toward the afternoon, the owner made a snarky comment, "Every time I'm in this office, you're mopping the same spot, don't you actually do anything else?" Maintenance guy rage quit on the spot after 13 years with the company. Sadly, the owner is still oblivious that he even said or did anything that would be questionable in any way. My coworkers don't really know computers like I do, and since my job is 90% on the computer, I just load up 3 or 4 Explorer windows over a random Excel spreadsheet, and stare intently at it. I open VS Code and open anything really. Colored text is boss repellent. VS Code open equals I'm actually working. If you want to stare at a screen, SSH to any active web server and tail F the log. If you're too lazy for that, just DMESG on any Linux system. Either one, you can start at your screen doing nothing for a long time, debugging a user issue. Lynx is a terminal web browser. It's a pain, but you can use Reddit in a format that looks like you are SSHED a server. Or you can browse Reddit while SSHED into a prod server if you are the maddest of lads. Right-click on random webpage, view source, stare intently at JavaScript. My school had a website that they put our grades on for our parents to view. For whatever reason, my parents always made me load it up and bring the laptop or phone to them to show them. I always used the laptop and viewed source to change the grades, as long as they didn't refresh the page I was in the clear. Made lots of fake report cards with that laptop too. I'm lucky I graduated. If you work in a big enough building, you just put something important looking in one hand, papers, a clipboard works perfectly, etc., and scurry intensely from one random place to the next. Make friends in different areas, stop to chat briefly. Find the good clean remote restroom and use it. Grab a cup of coffee. Help somebody else with work that's more interesting than yours, etc. Rinse, repeat. As long as you're holding something official looking, change it up, and hurrying semi-urgently from place to place, you can go like this right up to your yearly review. Hopefully you manage to get some actual amazing things done here and there along the way. I'm in a senior IT role and I do exactly this, except I bring my laptop everywhere. Open an Excel spreadsheet, start filling it, my boss backs away lol. It takes 5 minutes to fill out and format a spreadsheet to make it look legit. I keep one like that saved away for slow days. Keep it open when browsing Reddit and tab over real quick in case someone walks in. This was over 30 years ago, but a coworker and me used to delete one important file from a test Unix server, then see how long it took the other to fix it. That was a great way to learn. Sounds kinda like the game Quarter Turn I used to play. I went to a merchant marine academy and we had a thing called Sea Term. While on this term you stood watch and stuff on a big OL steamship. So being students, they really didn't give us anything to do. Watch was essentially pretending to be busy so one of the engineers didn't yell at ya. So we would go around the engine room of the ship, turning valves a quarter of a turn and see what happens, and if nothing happens you turn it again. However, this turned out pretty badly when I accidentally turned off the control air and almost flooded both of the boilers. Reviewing. Going over work you did for the day, just to make sure I did everything right. Underrated habit that's disappearing due to high workloads, which ironically contribute to more errors that could be caught by having time to review. At my last job, I often found massive mistakes while just gazing lazily at the screen and taking a mental breather. With a little more downtime to process things deeply, the errors that were missed in the initial rush to get work done would eventually become apparent. It felt like I was slacking off, but it was actually one of the most important parts of work. When management lost half the staff and dumped twice the amount of work on the remaining people, all that downtime to review work disappeared. The errors began piling up like crazy and management couldn't figure out why, but to everyone else the cause was obvious. Find something to read that they can't tell isn't work if they don't look close. Like, did you know the script of The Truman Show is online somewhere? That was a fun day. I read Ready Player One like this. Part of my job was just being up to date on research and best practice. So I'd have a PDF of a work-related journal article up and another PDF of Ready Player One. I only had to tab to the journal once. Play games on the laptop. A girl sitting at a reception desk focused on a computer screen. Good enough. I feel bad for the receptionist at my work. She gets maybe 2 or 3 people a day coming in, mostly just couriers dropping something off. She gets so bored. I have a steady flow of work these days, but when I first started, my position was brand new. So there was not a lot to do, and it's actually the reason I joined Reddit. Figured I could stay current with all the free time I had. But yeah, those first few months were rough, so I started emailing myself really long articles and short stories. I'd then either just read them straight from email, or I'd pass them into an Excel, Word, Publisher document. I walk around telling the elves to work harder, most of the time while eating some cookies and sipping a nice whiskey. The missus gets on me if I sit around too long in the off-season. Been 5 years since I worked in an office, but in a call center I'd dial a number I knew would not connect, i.e. leave last digit off. The line registered as busy, so my busy on a call stats were always very high. Just had to remember to cover the phone light with something if I walked away to make a coffee or something. Always leave something on the computer screen that is an Excel document with lots of data, etc. Remember to scroll from time to time and don't use a screensaver. Ideally, your screen should be not seen by others walking past, but this is for when you can't control that. Tell others how busy you are. Needs to be done carefully so you aren't seen as a drama queen. Just time to time and slightly under your breath comments, well anyway, got to get back to my desk, lots on. Or in staff meetings or with your manager, praise the team. Thanks everyone for all the hard work getting done, this is a great team. Always carry documents with you when walking around the office. A folder or just any papers. Great for going to a chat with a coworker. From afar, if you are seen holding papers you look busy and it must be about work, right? Thinking on that last point. Walk with purpose. Walk slightly faster than normal from A to B. Stay 5 minutes later than others leaving office for the day. Come to work 5 minutes before they do. Leave empty coffee mugs on your desk in the morning. Make a coffee. But have one with dregs as a spare prop. You've been in for ages at a glance. Oh, I'm having a bit too much fun with this. Lol. Management is pretty laid back where I work at. When we are busy, we get properly hammered and I'd be doing myself a disservice by not keeping up. So when I'm browsing YouTube with earphones, they know it's a slow day with truly nothing to do. Open up various tools for system monitoring and look at them. If something went bad we'd get an email, so I don't really need to do that, but it looks busy and maybe I'll notice something important. Otherwise I take some training courses or something. Most aren't very good, but it's fuel for my self-evaluation come mid-year. I'm a social media manager, so I can just browse through Instagram and pretend I'm looking for inspiration, influencers or the competition. I literally have 15,367 emails in my inbox, not including subfolders, because our job communicates a lot through email with our clients and the banks. So, whenever I have downtime, I organize them whenever someone walks by. But really, I'm learning about things I don't know online, like useless facts, on this day, new words to broaden my vocabulary, etc. Then I get stuck on Reddit and I end up learning nothing except how to make myself look more busy at work. Which, TBH, I really shouldn't complain about. I implemented a fun filter for my work because of email. Because of how insanely easy it is to send someone an email, people often don't associate the volume of work created by sending that email. So two people will be having a conversation about some data and one will go, "Man, if only we could see this data compared to the same period last year and the year before that," and the other goes, "Oh, Brad owns that data, just email and ask him, *Bing. You have one new email *, but we got a new system 15 months ago and the two don't talk, so I can pull the data up for the last 12 months, and I can pull up the full year on the old system, but I have to manually paste the middle year together, so now this 5-second email has created 2 hours of work and I don't even know why I'm doing it." So the filter, I'd never complete any unexpected email task request until I was asked for it twice. So I'd reply and go, "Yeah, sure. I can get that to you next week," and then just wouldn't do it. If they really needed it, toward the end of next week I'd get a follow-up email, "Hey Brad, we're really stuck without that data. Is it nearly ready?" And then I'd reply, "Yep, sure is. Tomorrow morning at the latest, maybe today if my phone would just stop ringing." And then I'd start it. Most times, I'd never get a follow-up email because it wasn't actually important or necessary. If it's a job I care about and enjoy, I don't. If I'm not busy, I go and ask for more work. My first job out of college, I worked at a company that treated all of its employees like garbage. 17/24 people quit in the 3 months that I was there. There, I listened to audiobooks and pretended to click on Excel files. Good dental insurance, though. I got my first cavities ever while I was there, maybe from increase in alcohol to deal with the job, and I only had to pay like $100 to get all of them fixed and replace my retainer. I'm a machinist but I have a desk, so, not an office worker, but this applies to me. I will browse MSC or McMaster Carr and look at tools if a manager is around. When they ask what I am doing I reply with spending company money. Have a stack of papers next to me. Take one of them and just start writing on it, occasionally squinting at your computer screen. I just draw and write about how I'm currently feeling and make list of the things I need to do when I get home. About 2 years into my first office job, I really started digging into the various reports we had access to. I found one really obscure report, you know, the type that was probably built for one specific project but they left it up anyways? Well, I found out that it would actually give me all the updated numbers for my categories, retail, corporate, office, daily, as opposed to either at the beginning of the week, or having to run a bunch of reports when I needed them. I didn't really need this every day, and it had a lot of excess I didn't need, but whatever. This report took about 5 minutes to run, but for some reason it basically locked up all the resources on the computer and I couldn't do anything pretty much. We used auto hotkey for a lot of functions, so I set up a quick script to F5 every 90 seconds, which would restart the report to run, without having to re-enter the parameters. Set it up to do that enough times for 30 minutes, combined with sitting with my back to the door and getting good at napping upright with my hands on the mouse and keyboard, and I got really nice 30-minute naps in the morning while looking busy running this report that took a while to run and was prone to crashing and restarting. I have no idea how you guys can do nothing with so much dedication and intensity. I get twitchy if I don't have a problem to solve or something to focus on, so how can you manage to last 8 hours while doing nothing but staring at nothing on your screens? I really don't get it. I think I was born broken.